A few days ago, Eboni K Williams went viral with a discussion with Iyanla Vanzant about dating or refusing to date men who were bus drivers. Let's play that clip so that we can get everything in its entirety.
I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns
No.
it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date him.
So of course, that particular clip got a lot of people talking. It got a lot of black men talking around the country, a lot of black men making response videos and making comments, because a lot of black men took umbrage with the fact that she doesn't want to date a man who is a bus driver. And for me, I don't take any umbrage with it because she's an attorney. She's worth a lot of money. It just would make sense that she wouldn't want to date somebody below her financial level. So that's for me. But she has responded in kind on the griot to those people who've made a lot of commentary about her in talking about black women in general. I want to have an opportunity to play that clip, and then I'm going to come back.
So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
Now, she's saying some things that we can concur in our culture. It could be true. We typically do have lower expectations. Now, she did take a shot at these black men, saying that those who are talking against her most likely scored C's and D's on the report card. Again, that's not, in my opinion, necessary. I'm not dealing with that. And but she says some true things that, the black community accepts lower standards and we need to be doing better. And she wants black men to be doing better. That's very nice. So let's eliminate the guys who you feel are not out on your level, Ebony. And let's deal with the fact that in the first part of the video with Iyanla Vanzant, you said that you have dated multiple sorts of men, not just black men, a lot of different men. You went to University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. You went to Loyola Marymount School of Law in New Orleans. So you're not the average lady. You've had some experiences and you're a beautiful lady. You've worked in journalism. You've worked on reality shows. So the question now becomes, how many people have you met like you or above? The answer for me, I can infer that you would have met very many because birds of a feather flock together. So now when you're at the top, you're not really so concerned about those people at the bottom because you're not interacting with them. You know, I used to live in Del Paso Heights, and for a great deal of my life, I used to be concerned about things that were around my neighborhood, but I don't live there anymore. Not to say I don't have love for it, but I don't relate to it as much because it's not my life now. I'm living over in Africa now. That's my new life. So as I'm trying to, go to a certain level, that's what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with where I'm at and trying to deal with people on my same level. And that's who I'm in meeting and incurring now. What about you? You mean to tell me that you didn't meet black men that were doing very well, or white men that were not doing very well? I mean, you're 39 and you've been doing fairly well for a long time. So I'm not even talking about the guys who are bus drivers or men like that, because that would be indicative of the fact that you just couldn't get anybody on your level. So the question is why? Why is a beautiful lawyer such as yourself, very good looking, smart, attractive, how come you never got some man on your level? And notice, I didn't even say black man, any man. You see, Ebony, it's easy to point the finger, but these questions you can't answer because it's going to boomerang back towards you. And we know that it's not about your looks. We know that it's not about your ability to work or not have high standards, because we know what you've achieved professionally. That's obvious. So then could it be that your professional efforts are not equal or equivalent to your relationship efforts? And now you find yourself in a bind because now your good looks can't keep a man and you don't know how to behave to do so. So once these guys have shunned you off or don't want to deal with you, and you're competing with the rest of the world, you're competing with the black women, the white women for these top guys who are probably already married and, have chosen not to deal with you. It's easy to come back and talk to the people not on your level and say, you guys need to do better for a group of women like myself, when the reality is you've been around a group of men like you and you just have not been chosen. So why are you even addressing bus drivers? And I get it. She asked you that. It's a fair question. But dare I say, you probably can't even get them. So why can't you get the lawyers? Why can't you get the doctors, the business owners? Because you're not on the level. Like, you're on the professional level, but as a mate, you're not on that level. And that's something that a lot of ladies don't understand. As smart as some people are in academics, that doesn't carry over into practicality of how life works. That's why sometimes some of the worst business people are medical doctors, lawyers, accountants, because see, business is a different mindset typically than academically or professionally qualified, skilled degrees. Those are two different concepts. It requires a level of social skill and a certain level of thinking in this particular ball game, right? It requires certain characteristics. And I would suspect that being a wife requires certain characteristics, and you just don't have those skills. You don't have what it takes. You don't have the ability to swing the bat there. And so because you can't swing the bat, now you're upset at other people who've chosen not to deal with you. And then your response to it is the black men are not being successful, when there are enough black men to be successful that you've come across, all you needed was one, and you never got the one. So then how come you never got the one? And we're always going to be able to come back to your lack of effort, your lack of willingness to compete, your lack of willingness to take accountability for your mistakes. And once we start opening that rabbit hole, we go deeper and deeper and deeper into your own personal issues towards men. And now we find out why you are who you are and where you are, and how it's so easy to attack people for lower standards, or they need to do better, or the black community is not where it needs to be. You men need to be, stop attacking black women. When you're the person, when you come across these guys, you just don't have what it takes. You don't deserve to be there. That's why at 39, I think you've been married before and divorced, and nobody else has said, I want to be with her. Whose fault is that? The guys who have money and the guys who have real life experience are comparing you to others, and the others are winning. Let's leave the guys who drive the bus aside here. Let's deal with who you would deal with and why those people won't deal with you. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Producer for all that you do, Celebrity Bell. We're out.